When we think of Hollywood, we picture glitz, glamour, and the illusion of immortality. But behind the bright lights and perfect takes lies a darker truth. The set isn't always a safe haven. Sometimes tragedy strikes when the cameras are rolling, and actors don't get a second take. Today, we're cracking open the reels of time to spotlight those unforgettable and heartbreaking moments when the curtain closed for good, mid-performance. Let's start with one of the most legendary losses in cinematic history, the death of Bruce Lee's son, Brandon Lee. Brandon was on the cusp of major stardom in 1993, filming the gothic action film The Crow. The role was intense, physical, and emotionally demanding. The production was dark, both in tone and luck. The set was plagued by injuries and eerie mishaps, but it all came to a screeching halt during the filming of a pivotal scene. Brandon's character was supposed to be shot by thugs. The prop gun, however, was improperly prepared. A dummy bullet had left a fragment in the barrel, and when the blank was fired, that fragment acted like a real bullet. Brandon was shot in the abdomen and died hours later. He was just 28. His death echoed the tragic fate of his father, Bruce Lee, who also died mysteriously before his time. Brandon's performance was posthumously praised, and the film became a cult classic, but at a heartbreaking cost. Now hop back a few decades to a time when westerns ruled the screen and cowboy hats were practically stitched onto the stars. This takes us to the tragic end of The Misfits, a film that already carried a funereal weight. It marked the final completed performance for both Marilyn Monroe and Clark Gable, but it was Gable's fate that's most chilling. Clark Gable, the rugged king of Hollywood, had just wrapped filming a demanding scene where he was dragged behind a truck. Just 2 days later, Gable suffered a massive heart attack and died. He was 59. His death cast a pall over the production, which had already been burdened by tensions between the director, Arthur Miller, and Monroe. Gable had reportedly said, "The only thing I want is to finish this picture and get out of it alive." He almost didn't. Fast forward to 1984 and the set of Cover Up, a TV series starring rising action star John Eric Hexom. He was 26, built like an Olympian, and poised to be the next big thing in television. But in one casual, catastrophic moment, that promise was shattered. During a delay in filming, Hexom, bored and joking around, picked up a prop .34 Magnum loaded with blanks. He held it to his temple and pulled the trigger. Most people think blanks are harmless, but the force of the explosion was enough to shatter his skull and drive bone fragments into his brain. He died days later. The entertainment world was stunned. Hexom wasn't doing a stunt, wasn't shooting a scene, just waiting between takes. It was a cruel reminder that even the illusion of danger can be fatal. Then there's Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter himself. While not an actor in the traditional sense, Irwin's TV presence was larger than life. Filming an underwater documentary called Ocean's Deadliest in 2006, he encountered a stingray in shallow water. In a freak accident, the stingray's barb pierced his chest, hitting his heart. His death was captured on camera, though the footage has never been released. Irwin died doing what he loved, but the shock of losing such an iconic and universally beloved figure reverberated across the globe. He had brought the wild into our living rooms, and in the end, it was the wild that took him back. But death on set isn't confined to the modern age. Let's crank the reel back to the golden days, 1923 to be exact. We're talking about legendary cowboy star William Desmond Taylor. Taylor was directing at the time, not acting, and was found dead in his bungalow, shot in the back. The case remains one of Hollywood's most tantalizing unsolved mysteries. Though not technically killed on set, the scandal rocked the industry to its core. Stars like Mabel Normand and Mary Miles Minter were linked to the case, leading to rumors, cover-ups, and the beginning of Hollywood's love affair with scandal. The Taylor murder became a poster child for why the studios needed to clean up their act, and why the Hays Code eventually came to dominate production. Now let's talk about Martha Mansfield. She was one of silent cinema's rising stars. In 1923, she was filming The Warrens of Virginia when tragedy struck. Mansfield had just finished her scenes for the day and was sitting in a car on set when someone struck a match, accidentally igniting her Civil War-era costume, which was made of highly flammable material. The fire engulfed her. Though her driver tried to smother the flames with his coat, Mansfield suffered severe burns and died the next day. She was just 24. Her death led to major changes in costume safety regulations, but it came far too late to save her. Jump forward again to 1982. The horror film Twilight Zone. The movie was meant to be a thrilling homage to the beloved series, but it became one of the darkest chapters in Hollywood history. Actor Vic Morrow was filming a scene with two child actors when a helicopter above them spun out of control and crashed. Morrow and the children were killed instantly. The footage was gruesome, the fallout explosive. Director John Landis and others faced criminal charges, and the incident sparked massive changes in safety regulations, particularly regarding the use of children in dangerous scenes. Morrow had reportedly been uncomfortable with the scene, but agreed to do it. He never walked off that set. You can't talk about on-set deaths without mentioning Roy Kinnear, the beloved British character actor known for his work in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory and the Three Musketeers films. During the filming of The Return of the Musketeers in 1988, Kinnear was asked to ride a horse across a slippery cobblestone street in Toledo, Spain. He fell and broke his pelvis. Complications from the injury led to a fatal heart attack the next day. His death devastated director Richard Lester, who never directed another film. Then there's John Ritter, TV's lovable goofball. While rehearsing 8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter in 2003, Ritter collapsed on set. He was rushed to the hospital and misdiagnosed with a heart attack. In reality, it was an aortic dissection, a tear in the artery. The misdiagnosis cost him his life. Ritter's sudden passing led to a public awareness campaign about aortic dissections and sparked a foundation in his name to fund research. And how could we forget Heath Ledger? Though Ledger didn't die on a film set, he was deep in post-production for The Dark Knight and early in filming The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. Ledger's accidental overdose on prescription medications at just 28 cut short one of the most promising careers in modern film. Production on Parnassus had to be paused and reimagined, ultimately bringing in Johnny Depp, Jude Law, and Colin Farrell to complete Ledger's role as shape-shifting versions of the same character. It was a haunting, fitting tribute to a man whose performances always lived slightly on the edge of reality. The stories go on. Paul Mance, a daredevil pilot and stuntman, died in 1965 while filming The Flight of the Phoenix, when his plane broke apart during a tricky maneuver. Tyrone Power, one of classic Hollywood's biggest heartthrobs, suffered a heart attack while filming a sword fight scene in Solomon and Sheba. He was 44. The scene was completed with a body double. And Red Fox, the iconic comedian, suffered a heart attack on set in 1991. At first, everyone thought he was joking, because faking a heart attack was part of his act, but this time it was real. You can also look at Tommy Cooper, a British comedian who died live on stage during a televised performance in 1984. The audience thought it was part of his act, laughing for a full minute before realizing he had collapsed for real. The show cut to commercial. Cooper was pronounced dead later that evening. His passing sparked debates about live television safety, and broadcasters have never taken chances since. Finally, there's Ken Steadman, a lesser-known name but no less tragic. In 1996, while filming the TV show Sliders, he was driving a dune buggy between scenes when the vehicle flipped over. He was killed instantly. Though he wasn't a household name, his death rocked the sci-fi TV community, proving that danger doesn't discriminate by fame level. These tragic moments serve as chilling reminders that even the controlled world of Hollywood is not immune to danger and fate. Behind the crafted illusions, meticulous choreography, and carefully staged explosions, there are real people, actors, stunt performers, and crew, risking everything to tell a story. And sometimes they give more than just their time or talent. Sometimes they give their lives. So the next time you rewatch a classic or a cult hit, remember, some films came at a far greater cost than box office numbers or bad reviews. Some left real wounds behind the scenes, scars that the industry still carries, even if the cameras never stopped rolling. If this video gave you chills or made you see these films in a whole new light, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We'll be cracking open more dusty Hollywood reels and unearthing the kind of stories studio execs thought they buried decades ago. From scandals to scripts that killed careers, we've got it all. This is vintage Hollywood, and no secret stays silent forever. See you next time as we roll film on another forgotten chapter of movie history.